We can double the number of counters on this fractal. Why not? I'm gonna hold back the Poet's Quill until next turn just so they don't see it. Oh, we can get them with a Strixhaven Stadium. Today on Commander Replay, we get a look at 15 new Strixhaven cards in this mishmash deck I call Strixhaven Tribal. Next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Commander Replay t-shirts, available in orange and colors beside orange. Welcome back, everyone. Got something a little different for you today. We are playing Strixhaven Tribal, even though we'll see a lot of cards in the deck that are not Strixhaven. So I'm running Jegantha in the command zone just because Jegantha is helpful for casting big expensive things. It gives you cost reduction toward your colored mana, which is really nice, especially for casting like big expensive things that are kind of disjointed. This is a weird hand. A lot of non-Strixhaven cards in it, but I guess we'll keep it. So anyway, let's just take a quick peek at the deck and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we have many Strixhaven cards in the deck, especially as we get toward like the creatures and kind of the bigger stuff in the deck. But I did fill the deck out with just some commander staples, things like Mirari's Wake, Zendikar Resurgent, ramp and card draw basically. Again, I used Jegantha just to add some mana, like if you're trying to cast something like this, you get 2 mana from Jegantha, potentially more with filter lands in play, because that's how Jegantha works with filter lands. We got some of these fun new X spells up here at the top. We got a couple of the dragons in the deck, Harness Infinity, Belladross, and a few other things. So yeah, this is basically just an excuse to look at some of the cards in context. I started a new job a few weeks ago, right around the time that spoiler season started, so I have not been up on the spoilers as much as I would like. So this video is a little bit for me to get used to some of the new cards, and also a little bit for you. If you just want to see some of the new cards in action, I know it won't be completely in context, like in the deck that they fit in, but this is a great opportunity to look at cards that like I probably won't play just because of the colors I tend to play. Like there's a ton of Boros stuff in this set, so we'll be looking at a lot of Boros in the future. So, you know, something like Harness Infinity may not come up just based on the decks that I like to play, so hopefully we get a look at something like that today, and that's the purpose of this video, just to look at some of the newer cards, read through them one time, try to get a feel on what they're doing. There's Tanazir Quandrix. Sweet, got ourselves an Elder Dragon, love it. So I guess we'll play a Reflecting Pool. I don't even think we can tap the Reflecting Pool, honestly. We can't. Well, we can tap it, but it doesn't do anything. So we'll tap out and pass like that. And I could have gone with Cody in the command zone, but I noticed that it's not great for playing permanents. And I do like my permanents, so just decided to go for Jegantha because of the mana thing. I wanted something that wasn't going to like take over the game like a Sisay, a Golos, or a Kenrith. Jegantha just kind of helps the other stuff in your deck a lot, so that's what I decided to do. The other thing, you probably won't see this, with the update for Strixhaven yesterday on Magic Online has been incredibly slow. Like, most players are probably taking a minute just to respond to triggers and stuff, and it's not great. So there's a few things that may happen by the end of this video. Someone may scoop based on how long it's actually going to take to film this video. 2, the game might crash is a thing that happens. Someone could time out based on how the reaction times are going. You'll probably see people trying to avoid leaving mana up for stuff, so that's probably not going to be a thing in this game. It's going to be a little bit of a weird game just because there is incredible lag happening on Magic Online right now, and you know, it's just part of it. Whenever they release a new set, it's always, everything gets a little bit unstable for a week or two. That's just kind of how it goes, so not much we can do about it. Brings us back to our turn. There's a Misty Rainforest. Lands are good. We'll go ahead. What do we need? We got a bunch of red in hand. I guess we just play a Taiga. I don't really know what colors we need yet, so we'll drop that in, tap out, and pass. Knight of the White Orchid for opponent. Yep. Hardened Scales for opponent. Branching Evolution, cool card. If one or more counters would be put on a creature you control, put twice that many instead. Basically just the +1/+1 elements of Doubling Season. Svella Ice Shaper coming in. Brings it back to our turn. Body of Research. There's a cool card that I'd like to get a look at some point. Create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. That should be pretty exciting. If you like big dumb creatures, that's going to give you a really big dumb creature. Anyway, let's get a land into play. Anything we can do with 3? Nothing we can do on 3, so I guess just Mana Confluence. Yeah, we're gonna tap it out just because trying to like hold priority, this is gonna be really bad. Opponent going on the attack with that Knight of the White Orchid over to Maro Powell. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing today. They did bring some Strixhaven commanders, so we have Quintorious, Field Historian. It's a 5-mana 2/4. It says spirits you control get +1/+0. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. That's pretty cool. That makes 4/2 spirits. Yeah. That's totally going to be a good spirit commander, and spitting out 4/2s is no joke. Opponent uses Leave, there's one you don't see much of, on their Knight of the White Orchid. Gonna get it back to their hand. They drop in another land, cast it again? Although, they won't get another land if they cast it again. Okay, they're gonna go for a Nim Deathmantle. That makes sense. Fathom Mage coming in for opponent, good one. Kodama's Reach for opponent, getting that ramp, love it. Continuing on our opponents, Maru Powell is piling Tanazir Quandrix, who's in our hand, is a 5-mana 4/4 flying trample. When it enters the battlefield, double the number of +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Whenever it attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control become equal to Tanazir Quandrix's power and toughness until end of turn. Kind of cool. So if you make Tanazir large, you can attack and make the rest of your creatures large. That's probably actually a really strong thing to have in the command zone. Like, I'm reading it and seeing it for the first time. I'm like, oh, that's cute. But if you just strap a Blackblade Reforged on that, your entire team becomes lethal on, turn 6 or whatever it is. Svella, Ice Shaper Giant going on the attack. And that'll bring it back to our turn. We draw a Poet's Quill. Cool looking card. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, we can learn a mechanic that does not work in Commander currently, but I just threw it in here for the lifelink. Anyway, let's drop this Misty Rainforest into play. Crack the Misty Rainforest. We've got Simic in hand. We've got blue-red in hand. We're going to need some black at some point. Might be a good time for, like, Underground Sea. Get Underground Sea. Let's cast a Smothering Tide. This will probably break the game based on how things are going right now. All right, there's the first trigger to opponent. Oh, they're paying. Here comes Knight of the White Orchid. Yep. And the ETB trigger. Mango does have 5. Mango, by the way, is piloting Svella Ice Shaper. 3-mana 2/4. Pay 3, tap it, create a colorless snow artifact token named Icy Manolith that taps and adds 1 mana. Pay 8, tap it, look at the top 4 of your library. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Kind of a cool little card. It is prone to whiffing, and that is a huge mana cost to whiff with. But there's definitely some fun stuff you can do with it. Big creatures, big spells, big enchantments. Anything you're feeling, you can kind of jam in there. And it's a top of the library matters type deck, which means something like Scroll Rack is always going to be good with those. So there's Smothering Tithe trigger on opponent. They give us a token. Tender Shoot Dryad, gross. That triggers Fathom Mage a bunch of times. That seems good. Because it gets a whole bunch of counters on it with the Hardened Scales and the Branching Evolution. It's going to trigger a Smothering Tithe a bunch, and this game is going to have some problems. We're up to 5 treasures now. That's kind of cool. Opponent got themselves a bunch of cards. We should be able to do some stuff this turn. Opponent's going to attack us with a 5/5. Yep, we deserve it. Tender Shoot is going to start the trigger. Yep. That'll probably force us into a Blasphemous Act, honestly. Like, what this does just gets out of hand. Burning Sun's Avatar, ooh, maybe not on the Blasphemous Act. Yeah, they're just going to shoot the Tender Shoot Dryad. I think we can hold off on the Blasphemous Act then. Ooh, we would need one more treasure to go Zendikar Resurgent into Body Research. Although everyone has blockers up, so it won't just kill people. But at some point, we can just go Blasphemous Act, and then this will probably survive, and everything else won't, so... Brings back to our turn, we draw a Callous Blood Mage, 3-mana 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Create a 1/1 black and green pest creature with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life, or you can draw a card and lose a life, or exile target player's graveyard. Those are some pretty cool modes. I think this will find a home in some Aristocrats decks. Pretty solid card, maybe even some Reanimators because of the card draw. And the ability to draw a card or exile a graveyard, that's super flexible. And of course, any deck with a Skull Clamp in it is probably going to like this thing a lot. So, cool little card right there. That being the case, I think we get Zendikar Resurgent, and we'll probably have to give up on the land drop this turn, but I think I'm just going to go for Gigantha. Get all the mana production into play. Smothering Tithe, Zendikar Resurgent, and Gigantha. And we'll get to draw, we'll get to draw a card off that, so. Come on, land. It is not a land. And we'll pass like that. It really doesn't like when you try to pass the turn. Smothering Tithe trigger. Opponent gave us a treasure. In comes their commander, Quintorious, Field Historian, coming in. Tanazir, coming in for opponent. Yep. Hopefully we can get to ours soon. And they're going to double the number of counters on the Fathom Mage. Oh boy. They're going to draw some cards. We're going to get some treasures. Is that going to be out of Blasphemous Act range? Oh, yeah, it's a 15-15. Wow. Seems pretty good. Seems like a good interaction. This is going to take forever to resolve. Swarm Champler coming in for opponent. Enters battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it becomes the target of spell or an ability an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green insect creature token, and you can tap one to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Yeah. Fathom Mage coming our way. This is going to eat into our life total a bit. Yep. Hope there's some life gain in this deck. Uvenwald Hydra coming in. Yep. That's a good one. It's going to bring it back to our turn. There's a Chromatic Lantern. I think we start with the Blasphemous Act. Actually, let's tap Gigantha first. Get all that mana. Start with the Blasphemous Act, using just the red. Opponent gets 2 Nim Deathmantle triggers. Fathom Mage will survive. I don't think we have anything to finish it up unless we draw into something. Return our commander to the command zone. Let's get Body of Research, because it looks very silly. It's an 84-84. Let's cast Tanazir. We're getting low on life. We should probably try to stay away from the Man of Confluence if we can. And we'll get to draw a card with the Zendikar Resurgent. It's a land. Lands are helpful. Mistveil Plains. We can double the number of counters on this Fractal. Why not? I'm going to hold back the Poet's Quill until next turn just so they don't see it. Because they'll definitely try to shoot it if they see the lifelink. Play the Mistveil Plains. Play Callous Blood Mage. Oh, you want what we can do? We can play Chromatic Lantern, and that'll allow us to tap Mana Confluence. I think we'll take the card draw right here. So, finally getting to the Strixhaven Tribal portion of the deck. The first half of the deck was Commander Staple portion of the deck. Conspiracy Theorist is a fun card. We'll get the Chromatic Lantern into play. And then I think we can get the Stadium into play, which I'll read here in a second. So, Strixhaven Stadium coming in. Super cool, fun, and flavorful card. 3 mana, tap it to add a colorless, put a point counter on Strixhaven Stadium. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a point counter from it. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a point counter on it. Then, if there are 10 or more point counters, remove all of them, and that player loses the game. So we'll tap that out, put a point counter on it, and pass like that. Pretty good turn. Pretty good turn. Celestial Dawn. Non-land permanent. I think they'll probably hit our 168, although Smothering Tide, Zendikar Resurgent, also good targets. Decides to go for the Fathom Mage. Oh, I see. Because they don't want them drawing all the cards, because they draw all the cards and they feed us and they get a bunch of stuff. But they'll still have a 3/3, so they can block the 168. So Fathom Mage goes down. Ooh, that's a Meteor Golem. Yeah, that'll definitely eat our 168. Makes me sad. I was hoping to gain 168 life. Actually, well, they could go for one of the other targets. Yeah, they're going to go for the Zendikar Resurgent, so fearing what Zendikar Resurgent does over the long haul, that's our card draw. With that in play, like, at our current pace, we would eventually just win the game, because we're just doing more than our opponents. With that out of play, a board wipe, and we lose a lot of stuff, and then it's anyone's game. But I do think we're going to get to gain 168 life, and it's going to be super exciting. Brings it back to our turn. We'll play the Plateau. Let's play the Poet's Quill. We'll tap this thing again. All of our lands make single now, which is disappointing. When it enters the battlefield, we get to learn, but that's not a thing that we can do. You know what? I hope this doesn't crash the game. Click no. Cool. Didn't crash the game. Love it. Love it. Then we'll equip this thing. Opponent says, oh, the casual lifelink. So we should attack over here and force them to block with the Cavalier Dawn because they don't have any artifacts or enchantments. And we invite a lot of risk by not doing that. But Mango did shoot our thing, so he has to pay. We'll send the big one at Mango. We'll send the flyer over to Eric. Actually, I should double check something. You may have. Okay, that's important wording. We'll leave the 2/1 back as a blocker, I think. I don't think it makes sense to go anywhere with that. Tanazir ability. Yeah, if you have a lot of tokens or something, too, it's also a pretty good way to go about it. We're going to choose no. Have a lot of tokens, pump this thing up one way or another, and yeah, you got yourself a very lethal board. So, opponent blocks. We hit. We get another counter on the Strixhaven Stadium. Sweet. I guess we'll play this Conspiracy Theorist. This thing seems interesting. And I guess we just pass like that. So the way I understand it, if we attack with this thing, we pay 1, we can discard this, and then we can cast that from our graveyard. We're up to 184 life, by the way. Feeling pretty safe with that much life. It's really going to take a lot for opponents to chew through that. Mindless Automaton. There's a cool card. One that I've always wanted to use a little bit more than I do, but Never seemed to quite play the right decks for it. I used to use it in a Reanimator deck, but better looting options have come up over the years. Probably makes a lot more sense in a +1/+1 counter deck these days. That's an Avenger of Zendikar from opponent. Those are pretty good. Opponents got themselves a bunch of tokens. 8 of them. That'll bring it back to our turn. We draw a land. It's not the best. Okay, so Maru Powell said he's got to get going. He had a family emergency come up. So we're going to send the big one his way, and he's not going to block. Problem with this is that it's a 2/2, and it gets blocked by a lot of things. We do kind of need the loot, though. Send the big one over to Maru. We'll send this flyer over to Mango. Probably looks like we're staying back with the other two. Tanazir trigger, but not going to use it. So Maru goes down for the reasons that we mentioned, having to leave. We get 2 counters on the Strixhaven Stadium. Mango goes to 36. It's ticking up, although these tokens going to be a problem. Having a player leave will help speed this game up a little bit. This game is going at a very sluggish pace. Play a Wooded Foothills, I guess. Oh my god, we're at 353 life. That is some silliness. Let's try to get Jegantha back into play. I'm going to save this in hand, so next turn I might do the loot with that. We'll do that, add a counter, and pass like that. 6 counters on this thing. We're getting there. We are getting there. Apparently, it's really good with flyers. Aurelia? Maybe? Definitely with token decks. Opponent's going to cast a Cathartic Reunion. Yep. They draw, we get Smothering Tithe tokens. We actually have enough life right now that, like, even if opponent just got a Crater Hoof, we might be able to survive that. Maybe. Haven't done the math exactly. We are getting into that territory where it's becoming possible. Burnished Heart for opponent. That's a really good blocker for our Fractal. They don't have the mana yet, though. Oh no, opponent's gonna Nature's Claim our lifelink thingy. Oh, Poet's Quill going down, no. Oh, I just wanted to keep gaining absurd amounts of life. Opponent casts a Shamanic Revelation. They draw a bunch of cards. We're gonna get a bunch of mana. At this point, we need the card draw. We have a lot of mana and nothing to do with it. We have some X-Spells in the deck, so an X-Spell could end it quickly. Opponent trying to resolve all those triggers. They go up to 16 in hand. That is a lot of cards. I'm jealous. We have all the mana. They have all the cards. Opponent has a Lightning Phoenix in their graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, if an opponent was dealt 3 or more damage this turn, you may pay red. If you do, turn it from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's pretty sweet. Add a Jumpstart? Cool little card. 3 damage is not that hard to do. It's got haste also. Haste is sweet. Can't block, though. That is the thing. Still, good for wearing a Mask of Memory or a sword. Opponent plays a land. Landfall trigger. Oh no! Opponent's gonna exile our big guy. Oh no. And then we draw a card and it's another land. Ouch. Ouch. Like, given enough time and enough lands, they have 14 cards in hand. They can actually kill us with all these plants. And they're gonna make even more tokens. Here they come. Actually, which side? What side is this on? I always get confused with these. Oh, this is the deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Yep, we've got some of those that we'd like to hang on to. Well, now might be the time to use the Tanazir ability. We can turn these into 4/4s. Or I can turn this one into a 4/4. Seems relevant. Opponent does have to discard down to hand size. That was an introduction to Annihilation that got us. Yeah, that card's going to be a good pickup for a lot of decks. Red decks for enchantments, black decks, artifacts and enchantments, blue decks, artifacts and enchantments. Ifrit Flame Painter. Deals combat damage to a player. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Exile it. We only have the... Oh no, we have a Body of Research, so that's a cool card. Definitely worth getting. Let's do some attacking. We don't have haste, do we? See any haste. Send this one to Mango. This one... I guess that one also to Mango. We'll just hold this thing back since it's just kind of a blocker for us at this point. I guess we'll put Tanazir on the bottom. So we'll do the thing. Discard this Ifrit Flame Painter. We draw Rhythm of the Wild. There's a cool card. Well, would have been nice at the start of our turn. We could have cast this thing, although... Ooh, that doesn't have evasion either. Okay, that's a concern. May cast it this turn. Yeah, we'll do that. Tanazir ability. We'll use it. Opponent just going to chump block. That's cool. Works for me. Strixhaven Stadium gets another counter on it. We're getting there. We are getting there. Play a command tower. Get Rhythm of the Wild. Cast the Elemental Expressionist. We'll go over the +1/+1 counter. Haste is not overly helpful in this moment. We'll cast the Ifrit from Exile. Put a +1/+1 counter on that. And I guess we pass like that. Didn't use Jegantha because we want an additional blocker for the plant tokens. Opponent's going to cast a Karmic Guide. Those are pretty good. What are we getting back? Angel of Flight Alabaster can get the Karmic Guide back every turn. That's kind of cool. They're going to go for the White Orchid, though. I would go the other way, personally, just because I like it. I think it's a cool interaction. Opponent gets a land. Opponent's going to play a Vesuva. Temple of the False God, probably the most interesting option. No, it goes for a second Mistveil Plains. Why not? They already have one naturally. Why not get another? We actually don't have a second white permanent to activate ours. A little bit disappointing. Opponent's going to reclaim Shamanic Revelation back to the top of their library. Yeah, that seems good. Can they draw it this turn? Yes, because they have a Soul's Majesty. They are about to draw some cards. Without a Reliquary Tower, I don't know if it makes sense to actually draw that. This will get them 5 and put them to 11 cards. They've got 6 mana left. Probably want to get some cards out of your hand. Smothering Tithe is going to trigger. Landfall trigger. Uh-oh, that's a Seedborn Muse. Ugh. The tokens are up to 3/4s. They are getting sizable. No attacks yet. Opponent's discarding down the hand size. We're going to need a big draw on our turn, actually. Oh, we can get him with a Strixhaven Stadium. I think that's our play. We need to hope he doesn't have removal. Play the Swamp. Blade Historian's interesting. Might be able to eat some of the tokens with that. Play the Blade Historian. Also gives us a white permanent to activate our Mistveil Plains. Oh, we could have did the thing. Whoops. Should have used the Conspiracy Theorist. Sorry. Forgot. Oh, that's an extra card draw that would have been super helpful. We want haste on that thing? I think it's okay without haste. Little +1/+1 counter. Things are kind of clogged up right now, so let's go to combat. Send the Flyer to Mango. We'll send Gigantha to Mango. The Expressionist to Mango. This one to Eric. And we'll leave those ones back for blocking. Ooh, Double Strike makes this get points on it faster. Tanazir ability we're going to decline. Uh-oh, Mango's got stuff. Blinding Fog. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures this turn. Creatures you control gain hexproof. That doesn't save him. That would be dealt to creatures this turn. This is going to hit him in the face unless he gets flying blocking. Everything else will bounce off each other, though. Well, opponent still needs to block this, but there's no reason not to. Opponent's going to do some blocks. This is not the worst thing I've ever seen. This is Team Double Strike. Doesn't give you Double Strike for blocking, though. Although I guess a lot of the other things I typically use don't either. Bruce Tarl, Duelist Heritage are only on attack, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily a best-in-slot card. There are a lot of really good cards at 4 mana for Boros, but it's definitely not bad. Bruce Tarl, I think, is creeping up there in price, so like if you don't have that, it is a perfectly reasonable budget option. Although 4 red-white is a little bit. Opponent can do some blocks. I think we're about to get him with the Stadium. There's trigger 1 on the Stadium. Just need one more. There it is. Down he goes. To the Strixhaven Stadium. Scored the winning point. The rest of the stuff he was doing was kind of making me nervous. We have a reasonable chance against Eric now. We definitely have the advantage. We have a lot of mana. We have more bodies, but I would say he has higher quality effects. There's definitely a lot more synergy happening on his side of the board. So he has a Karmic Guide that can do some stuff. This gets things back. This can reanimate. He's got a Nim Death Mantle, which is probably about to start coming into play. So definitely a lot more synergy on his side, but we just have bodies with Double Strike and plus counters on them, so that's something. He's down to 3 cards, definitely a lot more than we have. We need to top deck something. We have some good top decks that we can hit, though. We have X spells, and we have all kinds of mana to cast them. They're going to crack the Burnish Heart right here. Yep, get that mana. Echo cost for the Karmic Guide. Let's the Karmic Guide go. They going to pay 4 to get the Karmic Guide back? I probably would. No, they let it go. Wonder what they have. Oh, board wipe would be such bad news. Quintorious coming into play. Were these all spirits? Negative. Is Angel of Flight Alabaster about to be worth something? I've had a couple of these sitting around since original Innistrad. The answer is probably not. It's a decent card. It's not an overpowering card. Today's day and age kind of needs to be an overpowering card. Wonderful art, though. Part of a whole series. There's a 4-part series of the art with that card. Definitely recommend checking it out. Resurrection. Bring back the Karmic Guide. Why not? I think they could have just did it with the Nim Death Mantle, though, and saved the card. Yeah, because that would return it with the Nim Death Mantle attached to it. Oh, it's because they were trying to get their commander in first, and now they make a 3/2 that's going to be a 4/2. Okay, I see what's up. I see what's up. I'm on board now. Karmic Guide, bring him back. Angel of Flight Alabaster. Yeah, I think we're about to lose our advantage in the body count, but we still have the Double Strike, and the Double Strike is helpful. Yeah, opponent's got 2 4/2s. Those are serious. Those are going to trade with a lot of things. I think now we're probably going to be able to start using Tanazir's ability, though. I think it makes sense for all of our small guys to get bigger and then just deal with the fact that the 5/5s will become 4/4s. Actually, this one won't change because of the +1/+1 counter. Opponent could try and poke us. I would just take it if they wanted to poke us for... Oh, that's a pull from tomorrow. Uh-oh. We found an X spell. We can pump a lot of mana into this. So I guess that's what we do. Start with the stadium. Let's get that going again. 15 seems like enough. Oh, Elemental Impressionist. We get to do the thing. Let's do the thing on... I guess on our Blade Historian. Seems like a high priority target. Right now, up to this point, we have seen 9 new cards out of Strixhaven. This should get us to a bunch more. And we can get stuff in with haste. Oh my god, that's a lot of cards. Discard a land. Double Strike. Magecraft. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to your hand. We have 0 of those currently, but the Conspiracy Theorist can loot a thing, so that's not the worst. What's this one do? Creature tokens get +1/+1. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures you control die. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. What's this do? We can create a 3/2 red spirit. Creatures we control have indestructible and haste. 3 damage to any target could be helpful. Sacrifice a permanent, draw 2 cards. Spirits you control have trample and haste. Yeah, this all seems pretty good. All seems pretty good. What's this do on the other side? Discard a card, draw a card. Other tap creatures you control get +1/+0. So I think we just need to flood the board with creatures. Get Bloom Tender. Ooh, we can give a creature flying. How many flying? They only have 2 flyers. What's the backside of that thing do? Haste on the Bloom Tender. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less for each creature sacrificed this way. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a 3/6 black-red avatar creature token with haste. Whenever this creature attacks, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. I'd rather just have the 2/4. Let's get this guy. There are probably a few more Lorehold cards in this deck than like I would have preferred, just because I'm gonna be playing a lot of Lorehold. But you know, there's a lot of them that are really exciting, so they made their way in here. Let's go haste. It's on the backside of this thing. Pumps up the team. Whenever you attack, untap each creature you control, then tap any number of creatures you control. I don't really know which side I want. Looting's cool. I'm just going to go on the front side for now. This can give a thing flying. We are running low on mana, though. Let's go haste. Play Extus. We'll tap the Bloom Tender for mana. We'll go haste. Get the Arcane Signet with the 2 floating. Play Dramatic Finale. Very cool looking card. And I think this should be enough. Also, there's a potential that they die to the stadium also because of the Double Strike. If the damage doesn't outright kill them. Feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about where we're at. Send everything. Conspiracy Theorist. Tanazir. Use the Tanazir ability. Gonna skip the Conspiracy Theorist because I think they should do it. This thing does look really cool, by the way. I can't wait to start building around this. I gotta think about it a little bit. Don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with yet. Double-sided cards are interesting because there's just inherently a lot of abilities to think about, so we'll see what happens, but I'm excited. Opponent's starting to line up some blocks. Based on the current blocks, opponent will die to the stadium if the damage doesn't get them. Opponent adds another blocker. They're blocking with everything. I don't know how many this leaves. It'll be close. No, they'll survive. Will we get a thing back with this? Actually, I don't know if they'll survive the damage. Still a lot of damage coming. We trample over. Oh yeah, opponent's going to survive. Nim Deathmantle triggers. Stadium's going to get 5 counters on it, so that's not going to be enough to kill them. Oh, that's only the first hit, though. Yeah, the second hit should kill. Yeah, the second hit will kill them. And they're at 10. Need to resolve a bunch of triggers first, though. Opponent finally goes down. We get there with damage. We would have gotten there with the stadium also. So we had the backup win in the stadium. The stadium's better than I thought. Nasty little card. That's a mana rock that you have to shoot. You can't just let it stick there. So anyway, yeah, I'm happy about how this game went. Not specifically because we won, but I counted up. We got to see about 15 new Strixhaven cards in the deck, and that's just a lot. And a decent number of them were from colors that I don't play as often. So we got to see what happens with Body of Research, Tanazir if you double it. We put some lifelink on there with the Poet's Quill, Blade Historian, Team Double Strike, what? And many other things as well. You know, obviously this isn't a deck that you would build. This is really just a thought experiment kind of deck to show you guys some of the new cards and for me to read through the cards and play them one time and just kind of get a feel on them and see them a little bit. So let me know if you like this. This is definitely something I can do more of in the future as new sets come out. So let me know in the comments below. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hey guys, help support me and save 15% on singles by using the promo code REPLAY at mothershipatx.com.